Taiwan is a small island with a big heart, but it faces huge challenges. Even though it has one of the strongest democracies in Asia, it's always under pressure from outside forces trying to control it. Today, Taiwan's youth are still standing up, making sure their voices are heard. They're fighting to protect their freedom, and the world is watching them closely. Our story is far from over. In this video, we will talk about Taiwan and its fight for freedom and democracy. Taiwan has a long way since the 1990s. It used to be ruled by a government that didn't let people speak freely. But today, it's a place where everyone can share their thoughts and vote for what they believe in. Taiwan's struggle is very important, not just for people who live there, but for everyone around the world who cares about freedom. For many years, Taiwan has faced pressure from China, who wants to control it. But Taiwan keeps standing strong, showing the world how important it is to protect democracy. We will also look at how Taiwan's young people played a big role in this fight, helping to make sure everyone's voice is heard. Taiwan's journey is a story of courage, hope, and standing up for what's right. Taiwan faces many challenges that threaten its democracy and freedom. One of the biggest problems is the pressure from China. China claims that Taiwan belongs to them and tries many different ways to control Taiwan. They use military force to scare Taiwan, try to hurt Taiwan's economy, and even spread lies or fake news to confuse people and mess with their elections. This makes it hard for Taiwan to stay independent and keep its democracy strong. China has a lot of power over other countries. Because of this, many countries don't officially say that Taiwan is a separate country, even though Taiwan is a fully working democracy. It is not part of the United Nations, which makes it harder for Taiwan to talk to other countries to get help when needed. This is called international recognition, and it's one of the biggest problems Taiwan faces today. Without being recognized by other countries, Taiwan can't join international meetings or get supports from other democracies when facing challenges. Another challenge is Taiwan's internal politics. Taiwan's government is divided, with different political parties holding different views. The Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, which currently holds the presidency, won the elections, but they didn't win the legislative elections. This means that there is a split between the president and the lawmakers. This can lead to problems in making important decisions because of the government has a hard time agreeing on what should be done. This situation is called gridlock, where nothing gets done because of the people in charge can work together. When the governments can't agree, it becomes difficult to make changes that can improve the country. Taiwan citizens are also divided when it comes to big decisions about the future of the island. Some people want Taiwan to stay close to China, while others want Taiwan to be completely separate and independent. These disagreements makes it difficult for the people of Taiwan to agree on what's best for their future. These differences in opinion can create a lot of tension and make it harder for Taiwan to make decisions that affect the whole country. One of the key issues Taiwan faces is the question of Taiwan's identity. Some people in Taiwan feel they are part of China, while others feel that Taiwan is a completely different country. This divide creates a lot of confusion and tension, especially when it comes to talking about what kind of relationship Taiwan should have with China. Taiwan has to be very careful about the relationships it builds with other countries, as some of these countries are also trying to avoid upsetting China. But even though Taiwan faces all these challenges, its people continue to fight for their freedom and democracy. Taiwan's young people in particular have become very active in the fight for our future. The Sunflower Movement of 2014 is a perfect example. Taiwan's journey toward democracy has been long and transformative, especially starting in the late 20th century, lifted from martial law after 38 years of authoritarian rule. This decision marked the beginning of Taiwan's transition towards a fully democratic system. The country's first direct presidential election in 1996 was a milestone, signaling a start of a new era where citizens could choose their leaders freely. This was a major step in Taiwan's political evolution and a victory for its growing civil society that demanded more freedoms and political accountability from the government. The democratization process was driven by the people's desire for a system that respected individual rights and promoted transparency. Over time, Taiwan developed robust electoral processes characterized by competitive elections, free speech, and the active participation of citizens in the political process. One of the most inspiring aspects of Taiwan's democracy is the active role young people have played in shaping it. Students and young citizens have been at forefronts of social movements that have pushed for greater political and social reforms. The Sunflower Movement in 2014 was a clear example of this activism. We have a proper section to discuss this later, so stay tuned. But the Sunflower Movement isn't the only movement that shows how Taiwan's youth are leading change. The Taiwan Youth Association for Democracy, TYAD, founded in 2018 by young activists like Alvin Chang, has been working to involve more youth in political decision-making. TYAD focused on issues that matter to young people, publishing white papers and organizing forums with presidential candidates. Their work highlights the growing role of youth advocacy in Taiwan's politics. Another significant event was the 2015 protest against history textbook revisions, where students stood up against changes to textbooks they felt were pushing to pro-China narrative. This movement showed how young people care deeply about Taiwan's national identity and the influence of China, especially when it comes to how history is taught. The protests were supported by many society, proving the power of youth mobilization. In the 2016 elections, Taiwan saw the rise of third force parties like the New Power Party, NPP, which was popular among younger voters frustrated with the traditional political choices of the KMT and DPP. These shifts reflected young people's desire for alternative political voices and representation that better matched their values and concerns. The success of these parties marked a big change in Taiwan's political landscape, driven by youth activism and engagement. In 2024, a new youth-led movement called the Bluebird Movement emerged to mark the 10th anniversary of the Sunflower Movement. This movement focused on protecting Taiwan's sovereignty and democratic values, again showing the strong role of young people. It used technology to organize and spread its message, which showed how modern activism continues to evolve. There has also been a rise in civic education initiatives that encourage young people to become more involved in politics and understand their rights in a democracy. These programs have helped young people feel more empowered to participate in elections and governance, leading to a more politically aware generation that is dedicated to defending Taiwan's democracy. These movements and moments show that Taiwan's youth are not just participants, but leaders in the fight for democracy, national identity, and social justice. Their activism is a crucial part of shaping Taiwan's future, especially as they face ongoing challenges. However, Taiwan's democratic path has not been without its challenges. Economy issues such as high youth unemployment and burden of an aging population have created social pressures that fuel dissatisfaction with the government. For instance, many young people are frustrated by the lack of good job opportunities, which leads to a feeling of economic instability. As a result, some people question whether the democratic system is working in their favor, leading to a divide between those who support the current government and those who believe reforms are needed. Additionally, external threats from China remain one of Taiwan's biggest challenges. Over the years, China has repeatedly tried to undermine Taiwan's independence through military intimidation, economic pressure, and political influence. In recent years, China's military presence around Taiwan has increased significantly, with military exercises and even cyber attacks targeting Taiwan's critical infrastructure. Those actions are a constant reminder of the ongoing tension in the Taiwan Straits and the precarious position Taiwan finds itself in. In today's digital world, social media can be both helpful and harmful for Taiwan's democracy. On the positive side, social media has allowed people to organize protests and share important political issues. Movements like the Sunflower Movements and youth groups fighting for environmental protection have used social media to spread their message. Young people can now speak out and get others involved in ways that weren't possible before. However, social media has also been used to spread false information that hurts Taiwan's democracy. China has used social media to spread lies to try to change how people think. For example, they spread false stories about DPP candidate Lai Qingde, saying he had an illegitimate child, and they falsely claimed that his running mate, Xiao Meiqing, couldn't run because she was a U.S. citizen. Chinese media also spread conspiracy theories, like saying Taiwan's government was making bioweapons against China. These lies cause people to lose trust in Taiwan's government and elections. They also create confusion to make it harder for people to agree on important issues. Even though social media can help people speak up, it also makes it easier to spread lies that could harm Taiwan's democracy. The challenge for Taiwan is to stop these lies while still using social media for good. The 2024 Taiwan election also highlights the complexities and ongoing challenges of Taiwan's democracy. The election saw intense competition between the Democratic Progressive Party (DPP) and Kuomintang (KMT) and the Taiwan People's Party (TPP), reflecting the polarized political environments in Taiwan. Despite Lai Qingde of the DPP winning the presidency, no party was able to secure a clear majority in the legislative, resulting in gridlock between the executive and legislative branches. This imbalance creates challenges for Taiwan's ability to govern effectively, especially as tensions with China continue to rise. The 2024 election underscored the deep divisions within Taiwanese society. On one hand, there are those who want to maintain Taiwan's independence and strengthen its democracy, represented by the DPP. On the other hand, the KMT, which favors closer ties to China, continues to hold significant support. This division reflects border debates about Taiwan's future identity and its place in the international community. As Taiwan faces challenges from within and outside, the resilience of its democratic institution will be tested in the years to come. Taiwan's democratic journey, which began with the lifting martial law in 1987 and its first free election in 1996, has not been easy, but it has shown the world that democracy, even in the face of great external pressure, can thrive. The active participation of young people, movements for social change, and the fights to maintain Taiwan's sovereignty all play crucial roles in this ongoing story. The events of 2024, particularly the election results and the post-election protest, will continue to shape Taiwan's path forward. With rising tensions from China, the evolving political landscape within Taiwan, and the increasing role of social media, Taiwan's democracy will face both new challenges and opportunities in the coming years. But if the past decades have shown us anything, it is that Taiwan's commitments to democracy remain strong, and the people of Taiwan will continue to defend it against all odds. A very important moment in Taiwan's fight for democracy happened in March 2014. This moment is called the Sunflower Movement. It all started when students and young people became worried about a trade agreement with China. They felt that the agreements would make Taiwan less free and might even give China more control over the island. The students were very upset and decided to do something about it. They went to the legislative, which is Taiwan's government's building. They occupied it, meaning they stayed inside for more than 3 weeks to protest. They wanted the governments to explain the deal and show the people what was happening. The students were not only asking questions about this one trade deal, but they were asking if the government was being honest and fair to the people of Taiwan. The Sunflower Movement was very special. Many students and young people joined the protest, but they were not alone. Many older people also supported the students. Taiwanese citizens of all ages came together because they were worried about China's growing power. The people didn't want China to tell Taiwan what to do. They wanted Taiwan to be free and to make its own choices. This protest was about Taiwan's independence and its future as a democratic and free country. This movement was really important because it showed how powerful the people of Taiwan could be. For the first time in a long time, the people saw that they could make a difference by standing up and working together. The Sunflower Movement wasn't just about one protest. It was a wake-up call to everyone in Taiwan that needed to protect their democracy. After the Sunflower Movement, there was a big change. More young people started learning about democracy and how it works. There were new programs to teach kids and teenagers about their rights and how to be active citizens. They learned that their voices mattered and that they could help shape the future of Taiwan. Many groups started to work together to make sure that human rights were protected and that Taiwan's democratic system stays strong. However, while the Sunflower Movement was a huge turning point, it wasn't the only important movement in Taiwan's democratic journey. Other movements have also played a role. For example, the Taiwan Youth Association for Democracy, TYAD, founded in 2018, is a group of young activists who have worked hard to make sure that young people have a say in Taiwan's politics. This group has done things like creating reports on youth issues and holding talks with presidential candidates. These efforts show that young people are continuing to push for change and have become a key part of Taiwan's democracy. Another important moment was the 2015 protest against changes to history textbooks that some students felt made Taiwan seem closer to China. This protest showed that young people care deeply about Taiwan's identity and want to make sure their history is told honestly. Additionally, in the 2016 elections, new political parties like the New Power Party, NPP, showed that many young voters were tired of the old choices and wanted something new. These third-party movements helped change Taiwan's political landscapes and showed how young people can influence elections and political decisions. So, the Sunflower Movement was an important turning point, but it is just one of the bigger story. The activism and the ideas from young people in Taiwan continue to grow, and they are still working to keep Taiwan a strong, independent, and democratic country. Even today, the legacy of the Sunflower Movement is still felt. The young people who led the movement have inspired many more people to become involved in fighting for Taiwan's future. The movement is a reminder that when people come together and stand up for what they believe in, they can make a big change. Summing up everything, Taiwan has worked very hard to become a strong democracy, even though it faces many challenges. One of the biggest challenges is the pressure from China, but Taiwan's people have not given up. They have shown courage, especially during important moments like the Sunflower Movement, when many young people stood up for what they believed in. Taiwan's journey to democracy shows how powerful it is when people work together to make a change. Even though there are still challenges ahead, both Taiwan's leaders and the rest of the world need to help support Taiwan's freedom. Taiwan's story is a reminder that democracy and freedom are important for everyone, and they are worth fighting for. We'd love to hear your thoughts about Taiwan's fight for democracy. Drop a comments below and share what you think about the challenges Taiwan faces and how it has worked to protect its freedom. If you're interested in learning more about other global movements for democracy, be sure to check out our other videos. Stay informed and be part of the conversation on these important topics. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell for more videos like this. Stay curious, and we will see you in the next one.